I know we've never met, and I don't mind you never returning my calls, but I have to tell you, after 2 films, I feel like I am in your mind.
Well, that would explain my constant headaches.
After all, Gale Weathers, you're such a complex character.
Like a taco inside a taco within a Taco Bell that's inside a KFC within a mall that's inside your brain.
Now, I watched this very late at night for the first time when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I don't remember shit from the first time I watched this, I'll be honest.
Actually, the one thing I do remember when I watched it as an 8-year-old was, for some reason, the movie studio where they're filming Stab 3, and there's a scene with the guy that comes out around the corner and he's got the scissors through his head, but it's a prop. That's the only thing I remember. But then, having gone back and rewatched it, to me, this movie feels like there were so many ideas that they had, and they tried to cram it all into one movie, and it just kind of missed the mark. I wasn't a fan of the killer reveal. I didn't care that it was her brother. Somehow, they lazily tried to connect it to the first one. I don't know. I just felt like there was something missing. But I will say, I always forget her name, Piper Perabo, who does, sorry, I need to quickly Google this. There's the actors who are playing a actress version of Courtney Cox's Gale Weathers character. There's someone playing Sidney Prescott.
Parker Posey.
That's it. I love Parker Posey in this movie. I think it's nice to see that dynamic between the real Gale Weathers and the fake actress Gale Weathers, how they have their little conflicts with each other. Yeah. But I think, I'll be honest, it's kind of a big surprise. I mean, you look at the third installments of other Wes Craven movies, like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, which was a huge step up from the second movie. They brought in this Dream Warriors thing. I know that's very campy, but it is something that I felt was at least defied expectations for what a third Nightmare on Elm Street entry would look like.
Oh, definitely.
But Scream 3 kind of felt like it missed the mark.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one. I didn't remember this movie being so silly. Yeah. There's bits literally where something happens, they look at each other in a comical way, they look back, and then they scream.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening in this movie? But then some bits are real serious and real brutal, and it definitely feels like a mishmash of almost 2 or 3 different movies. I mean, it isn't very consistent. The mystery in the end, again, couldn't care about the whole brother thing. It feels like just like a retcon, just to give it some stock that there's a family connection there. But yeah, the biggest shock to me was just I just didn't remember how silly it was, and just people overacting and yeah, I completely forgot about that. All I remembered was that Cotton Weary dies at the start, and then it's her brother in the end. I couldn't remember anything else. But there was some fun characters in this. I do like the aspect of seeing the characters that are going to be playing Sidney and Gale and everything like that. And just the little comedy moments they have is really good, but it just doesn't really stand up overall. It's not consistent enough.
Yeah, I found this film quite silly, especially being the third one. 2 things I noticed. I don't know if you guys noticed. The one thing that really irked me with this movie was the house explosion, because I thought this is not a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
The Jerry Bruckheimer thing. I thought that was really random for a Scream movie to feature a house explosion like that. And I don't know if you guys noticed, there was a scene where he threw the knife at someone, which I don't think had happened yet in a killing. It was, every time it's been a stabbing with a knife, but the killer actually threw a knife. I wrote down throwing knives. So somewhere in that, someone threw a knife and killed someone with it. I just thought detracted from the whole stabbing of a Scream film.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it was that thing of Scream being quite a long movie. And this was a long movie. And as Justin said as well, there's a lot of ideas, and I just don't think they really could work out a single idea.
Scream 3 and the idea of the brother and everything is way better than Stu and his army of ghost faces.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a little bit tedious is what I wrote. So I kind of, forgettable.
That sums it up well, I think.
I also wish, even if they did a cameo appearance like Randy's character did, where he explains the rules of the trilogy on camera, why couldn't they show Skeet Ulrich, and probably say that name wrong, and Matthew Lillard come back to show the part where apparently Roman, the brother, where it shows him showing Sydney's mother all the videos and everything, or showing the video footage to Billy Loomis to make that connection. The number one cardinal sin in filmmaking is show it, don't talk about it through dialogue. That type of exposition never ever works.
My father was a relentlessly self-improving boulangerie owner from Belgium with low-grade narcolepsy and a penchant for buggery. My mother was a 15-year-old French prostitute named Chloe with webbed feet. My father would womanize, he would drink, he would make outrageous claims like he invented the question mark. Sometimes he would accuse chestnuts of being lazy, the sort of general malaise that only the genius possess and the insane lament.
It is interesting to me, though, that if you go onto like IMDb, you go on Wikipedia, it says written by Aaron Kruger as opposed to written by Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven and Aaron Kruger, because clearly all three of them did write it, but the credit only goes to Aaron for it. So I wonder, was this something where
they wash their hands of it?
Yeah.
You can have it, Aaron. It'll be good. It'll be good for your career. We don't need anything more under our titles. No, you have it.
One thing that felt very disconnected for me watching this movie was all the way up until the part where Sidney Prescott is in the police station. That feels like one movie. And then the part where it suddenly she goes to Roman's house and then he unmasks himself as her brother and the killer and everything. That feels like a completely separate portion compared to the rest of the movie, that it does feel like that was reshot during like reshoots. And like maybe, I mean, I've never been able to find any solid proof, but maybe they did shoot a completely different ending and maybe they tacked this on during like bad test reviews or something. Maybe they filmed the Schumacher section. We'll never know. I was not a big fan of the killer reveal.
You were the only child she claimed, Sidney. She shut me out in the cold forever. Her own son.
Roman Bridger, director.
And brother.
She slammed the door in my face. She said I was Rena's child and Rena was dead. And it struck me. What a good idea.
I find it interesting, the ending. I don't know if everyone remembers the ending where the door opens up at the end and she looks at it and walks away. Do you remember that? I was watching. I don't know. No, it's where she's at the house with Gale and Dewey, and then she's in the kitchen, and then she walks away, and the front door opens up a little bit, and I think it is the wind that opens it up, and she looks at it, and there's sort of like obviously a focus on the door, and you think someone's going to appear, and then she just walks away, and that's where it ends.
Oh yeah, like I'm not going to live in fear anymore. That whole thing.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about Gale's hair?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, well, I mean, to our listeners out there, jump on Google Images, look up Courtney Cox hair, Scream 3, and be ready to be mortified.
I just want to know whoever was the hairstylist for this movie in general. I don't even remember there being a trend. You know, I'm not saying I'm a fashion police expert or whatever, but, you know, I don't remember there being a thing in the 2000s.
No, neither. Hey, nobody had that hair.
What's wrong with you? What are you looking at? Lovekins? Where's my breakfast?
Here we are, my heartstrings. Snickerdoodle. What did you do to your hair?
I don't remember there being any frosted tips. There were a few people that had them, but fuck, not this shit.
Yeah.
When I was reading stuff on Scream 5 or Scream 2022, there was mention about Gale, and yes, she said she still gets reminded of it and she wants to forget about it and the meme and whatnot, but she's like, yes, let's not talk about it, but it keeps getting brought up.
Yeah, she'll never live that down.
No.
There's always that meme that goes around where it's like, if you think you're having a bad hair day, just remember Courtney Cox in Scream, and then it has a screenshot of her saying, wow, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I'll be honest, I'm not surprised that this movie did stop a potential Scream 4 from being released in like 2002 or 2003. I think the writers did kind of paint themselves into a corner by framing this as like the final part of a trilogy as opposed to like the next installment in a series of films. But, I mean, where else could they have gone from there?
If this killer does come back and he's for real, there are a few things that you got to remember. Is this simply another sequel? Well, if it is, same rules apply. But here's the critical thing. If you find yourself dealing with an unexpected backstory and a preponderance of exposition, then the sequel rules do not apply, because you are not dealing with a sequel. You are dealing with the concluding chapter of a trilogy. That's right. It's a rarity in the horror field, but it does exist. And it is a force to be reckoned with.
Thanks, BP and Coop, for joining me again today. Listeners, in our next episode, we discuss Scream 4, the very divisive entry into the Scream series that makes fun of the cliches of horror remakes.
New movie, new franchise.
There's only room for one lead, and let's face it, your ingenue days, they're over.
Plus, from July, we discuss all the Chucky films and the TV series in our Child's Play miniseries.
I'm one of the most notorious slashers in history.
Comment below if you'd like to see us take on a particular horror movie, or if you would like to join as a guest co-host. Feel free to chuck us a like, comment, tip, share on social media, all that shit. Subscribe for more if you'd like to be the first to listen to our newest episodes. And if you hated our podcast...
Could I be more popular?
No press. No press on set. Get that woman out of here.
Bye.